Welcome
to episode 152 of Doctor Who Time and Space.
Well, sir.
152.
That's a lot of episodes. I'm Deagle.
I'm Lewis Moon. And this is Doctor Who Time and Space, our weekly Doctor Who podcast.
So, what do we have on the show this week?
Well, this week we are going to be, as our main feature, looking in depth at all things Cybermen.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll also be giving our feedback on yet another Peter Davidson episode, Warriors of the Deep.
We have some exciting news, but not as exciting news as we hoped.
Indeed. We also will be doing a Who to Face this week. So if you like your stories, hang around to the end of the show, or we shall make one up on the spot.
Just if you're bored, skip to the end. And we've got more. And we have pressing of the randomizer. Will it be another Davidson?
Yes, the
Please
best
not.
bit of the show.
Please not another Davidson.
Do you know, I actually, I think we could actually do the pressing of the randomizer as a podcast in its own right, the Pressing the Randomizer podcast, because it's just such an exciting moment, isn't it?
But would we have a whole hour?
Yeah, because what we'd do, we'd have a big build-up to it, where we discuss the sorts of things that potentially could come up.
And a big bit at the end discussing what we want with the story.
There we have it. So maybe one day when there's no more news and we've run out of features, that's what we'll do. So, well, perhaps I'll ask you this question this week then. So what have you been doing, Who related or otherwise, in the last week since we last did the podcast?
Not really this week. Not very much Who related.
No. Well, I guess you've worked your way through these sort of old episodes that you bought. Didn't you?
Yeah, and now I have, and I finished series 9 rewatching, so. Now I have no new Doctor Who's to watch. The only Doctor Who I've watched this week is Warriors of the Deep. So
this would be a nice short section then, because it's the same for me. I mean, in terms of other things that we've been doing, so we sometimes go a little bit off tangent at this bit, don't we? You've been watching Red Dwarf.
Yes.
I've been watching a bit of Red Dwarf as well to remind myself of the episodes as you watch them. So that's been fun. Still keep cracking on with me Walking Dead vinyl and Game of Thrones rewatch. Daredevil's out now, looking forward to watching that. Somebody said that it was Brax actually said that it's better than the first series, so that'll be good.
What, has he watched it all?
I don't think so, no, but it does go. The thing is with these Netflix ones, they just launch the whole lot in one go, so that's quite exciting.
So have you had a good Friday?
A good Friday, yeah.
Because we're off for a little bit now. But you're off for 4 days.
Yeah, got a few days off. We're gonna head up to London, aren't we? On sort of one day during the week.
5 days actually.
Is it 5 days? Yeah.
Because including yesterday.
Yeah. So we'll be keeping busy.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little bit of a tour of some of the Thames-related Who.
If it's not raining.
If not, we'll be going indoors somewhere. But we'll have fun, whatever.
Yes. Because and tomorrow we've got Greedy Goblin Con.
Greedy Goblin Con, that's right. With the guy from Legopolis, the policeman. and Big John.
From Big John, yeah. And Dave Prowse.
Yeah.
We all love Dave Prowse.
It'd be just interesting to see what it is. I think it's just really good that somewhere small like Weymouth Dorchester area, that there's somebody's actually set it up.
And it's only one person who's done it.
That's right. So that's really good, isn't it?
Congratulate them.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to go there.
So, what news do we have then?
So, news related this week.
What we don't have. I mean, last week we said we were hoping that we'd be able to announce the new companion, because we were just sure, based on all of the the build up that we had last week, that we were getting close to that announcement being made. But unless it's been made in secret, we've not seen it yet.
We have not seen any of it yet.
So does that mean we've got no news?
No, it doesn't. I'll just refresh the Doctor Who news page just in case we've got any.
Imagine how exciting that would be if they announced the companion right then.
I know.
That would be good, but it hasn't happened, folks.
Sadly.
So you'll have to make do with this bit of news instead.
Yeah.
Over to you, Moonstar.
So Peter Capaldi has accepted a Guinness World Record title. So Peter Capaldi has accepted the Guinness World Records title for the largest gathering of people dressed as Doctor Who characters at the La Mole Comic Con in Mexico City last Saturday. The actor has been on a promotional tour to Mexico City, where the series is known as Doctor Mysterio. I love that. Doctor Mysterio.
That's excellent.
I know.
That is brilliant. I love that.
Doctor Mysterio.
I'd watch that. If Doctor Mysterio was on at the same time as Doctor Who, I'd watch Doctor Who Mysterio.
Doctor
Doctor Mysterio. Sorry, it sounds really good.
It's just a better name.
It is. It's great. You wouldn't be able to understand any of it because you don't want to be Mexican.
After being mobbed at the airport, the actor attended La Mole Comic Con, where the record was attempted. All in all, 492 Doctor Who doppelgangers, Daleks and Who joined the actual Doctor as part of the Guinness World Records attempt. Peter Capaldi and executive producer Brian Minchin were in the city to celebrate the premiere of Doctor Who Series 9 on NBC's channel Sci-Fi. Sci-Fi is quite a popular character in America. Wait, no, in all places.
I was just trying to get my head around the fact that it wasn't just the largest gathering of people dressed up. It was a record of the largest gathering of people dressed as Doctor Who characters. And I just wonder how you can... That just seems like a really random thing in the Guinness Book of Records, doesn't it? Does that mean that we could get, like...
I think there's a whole section for Doctor Who stuff in the Guinness Book of Records.
Is right. Because, I mean, could we have, like, most amount of Doctor Who time and space podcasts in the Guinness Book of Records? You know, what do you actually have to do to get into the Guinness Book of Records?
You have to do something amazing. I mean, we wouldn't be the longest Doctor father and son podcast.
That's right. We could probably do that, couldn't we?
Okay. Doctor Who already holds the Guinness World Record for the longest running sci-fi series. Well, Doctor Who magazine is the longest running magazine based on a television series. The 50th anniversary story, The Day of the Doctor, was named the world's largest ever simulcast of a TV drama. Okay. So Doctor Who's won quite a few Guinness World Records.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? I think the fan show this week is based on... I haven't watched it yet, and you haven't either.
No.
We'll watch it after this show, but I think the fan show this week is based on the Guinness Book of Record, the Guinness World Record on the recent Doctor Who in La Mole Comic Con.
What I want to know is, as far as this accepting the Guinness World Record thing, how many people did it say that it was?
492.
So of that 492, was Peter Capaldi one of them? Because he would have been there, so therefore he was there as himself. So does that count as him being dressed as a Doctor Who character?
True. And what about at London Comic Con if everyone went as everyone went as Doctor Who characters? Yeah. And I was thinking, what about Gallifrey 1? Wouldn't that be the largest?
Yeah, yes, that's true. Yeah.
Cosplay.
So, I mean, going back to the whole concept of Guinness Book of Records, does that mean then that if you got, say, 50 people dressed up as Weeping Angels, you could have it in there as largest gathering of people dressed as Weeping Angels? Would that constitute a Guinness Book of Records?
In the Doctor Who section, it would.
Yeah. I've never been able to get my head around that, but very good. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
Let's crack on with the next item of news.
Amazon and BBC. So no, Amazon Prime. So, Amazon Prime confirmed to exclusively stream Doctor Who in the United States. So, Amazon and BBC Worldwide North America have announced that Doctor Who will be available to stream exclusively from Prime Video in the United States, kicking off the first 8 of the modern series from 27th of March, with last year's Series 9 and The Husbands of River Song to follow in the autumn. The show will be available to Prime View members for no additional charge. Back in February, BBC Worldwide announced an exclusive streaming deal with Crave TV in Canada. Whilst I pop to
that place, I'll talk a little bit about
that place, can you talk a little bit about what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think just generally, I mean, don't get me wrong, I really like the whole idea of streaming stuff. In fact, the vast majority of things that I watch these days are effectively streamed. I've got Netflix. I've temporarily got Now TV whilst Walking Dead and Game of Thrones are on, and vinyl. I haven't got Amazon Prime. So the only problem is that constantly all of these various different platforms will all be battling against each other because, and it's annoying because you might have one thing you want to watch on one thing on another. What do you go for? I want to watch Daredevil. I can't watch Daredevil and Doctor Who now without subscribing to them.
I mean, it's quite clever, really.
Yeah. I love the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say I pretty much everything I watch these days is streamed.
People are very clever nowadays in big things like Netflix and Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's opened up and that whole sort of thing. I mean, it's probably difficult for you to imagine because you've been brought up as part of the internet generation. But to me, that whole fact that you think to yourself, oh, I want to watch a film or I want to watch something, and you just look on the computer and you just stream it there and then, that's phenomenal. I mean, it was exciting enough when I was growing up, when the whole, when videos came out and you could go to the video shop and hire out 3 films to watch, but you still had to go to the video shop and you still had to take them out the next day. Now you just press a button and it happens. It's astounding. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, some good news for America anyway.
Yeah.
Stream Doctor Who somewhere in United Kingdom, please.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. What always seemed odd about the Who stuff was the fact that on the American Who you had the classic stuff, whereas you didn't on the American Netflix you had the classic Who. Whereas on the English one, you didn't, did you?
Yeah, I know.
And that seems sort of odd. So I wonder. I'd like to think that they would broker some sort of deal for all the classics as well. Yeah.
Hopefully.
But we shall see.
But
I still think the BBC's got enough stuff.
On Amazon Prime, there's only the first 8 series at the moment.
Yeah.
And the rest to follow in the autumn.
That's true. It's only New Who, isn't it, that they're showing on there?
Which is a bit rubbish.
Yeah. But it will change. I mean, if you take something like, if I'm right, you've got HBO, who do sort of vinyl and Game of Thrones and stuff like that. They've got something in America called HBO Now, which you can actually watch any program that they've ever made ever off of it.
That's like Channel 4 OD, isn't it?
Might be.
Because you can watch every program that Channel 4 have ever made.
Really? No, I didn't know that. So. I mean, obviously, it'd be impossible for the BBC to do that, but it'd be great if they came up with a similar sort of concept. And I'd say, you know, for a few quid, I would be quite tempted to subscribe to that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Any more news?
There might be.
There may be some more news.
Okay, Legacy news now.
So Legacy's the tablet and phone based Doctor Who game, yeah?
Yes. So, Doctor Who Legacy has launched a new event for Easter because, you know, guys, it is Easter. Using the new Easter egg gem skins, players can hunt down Easter eggs hidden around the levels of Legacy and collect a set of adipose allies. All levels in the game feature 150% experience. Levels in the fan area are set to 200%. The Easter sale is also now live, giving 30% more crystals, as well as a new Season 9 pack with Season 9 characters and costumes, and a sale on other packs, including Season 8 and the complete Doctor set. The Trickster event will run for approximately 6 weeks, is also now live. The Trickster and his brigade will use the chaos created by the Master to grow their influence over the world of Doctor Who Legacy. Each week during the Trickster event, a new member of the Trickster event team will be rewarded for free as a guaranteed drop. The team is comprised of the 10th Doctor in his 3D glasses, Sarah Jane, Perry, Sabre, a Zygon, and the TARDIS.
Who's Cyber?
From Time Heist, the woman from Time Heist.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, now I remember her now. That's a really random set of people, isn't it?
Yeah, why are they linked?
Have you been playing the Easter event?
It's locked for me, I think, unless there's somewhere where I can find it.
Yeah.
But look, Nicola Bryant signed Perry.
Oh. Yeah, it's cool.
And
so you like Legacy, don't you?
Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been playing it a lot recently.
Yeah.
For reasons.
Do we have other news?
We do, yeah. Bit of sad news now. Adrienne Corey has died at the age of 85. So Adrienne Corey played Mina in the 1980 story The Leisure Hive, the first story of Tom Baker's last Doctor Who season. Corey appeared in the number film roles and is probably best known for playing Miss Alexander in the 1971 Stanley Kubrick film A Clockwork Orange. She played Lara's mother in David Lean's 1965 film Dr. Zhivago and appeared in the Otto Preminger thriller Bunny Lake is Missing. Other films include Devil Girl from Mars, The Telltale Heart, and Study in Terror and Vampire Circus. She played Therese Duval in Revenge of the Pink Panther. Her television role credits include Angelica in Sword of Freedom, Grace Gould in A Family of at War, and Lady Rebecca in Lovejoy.
Yes, well, it's sad news. Any more?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Candy Jar Books has released a new Lethbridge Stewart short story for Easter, which is being made available free to viewers. The Black Eggs of Khufu is written by Tom Dexter and features an ancient alien mystery, camels, explosions, and a great egg race across the desert. Lauren Thomas, who recently joined Candy Jar Books as digital and social media assistant, said, "We really thought that Tom Dexter had reached his peak with the Fright Before Christmas. That was until we read this story about the pyramids." Forthcoming publications from Candy Jar Books include a limited edition anthology of short stories originally released online, The Havoc Files, almost sold out, and the next in their full series Lethbridge Stewart novels, Moonblink by Sadie Miller. Full details on how to purchase the books and for downloading the Black Eggs of Khufu can be found via their website, which is on the link in the show notes.
Fantastic.
On my website.
Have you sort of looked at any of that at all?
What?
Any of the Lethbridge Stewart stuff? Have you read any bits of any of it?
I haven't read any yet. No.
It might be worth trying to have a look at that. Free to download.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, does that wrap up our news, or do you have?
Let me look.
Do you have more?
Final bit of news. The Doctor Who project is seeking story proposals to form part of a forthcoming series of short stories. The Doctor Who project centres on the continuing adventures of an 10th Doctor and his current travelling companion, Hannah Redfoot. Stories are published as part of an overall series that concentrates on delivering a collection of short stories that sees the Doctor facing new and original situations in time and space. The stories have typically been anywhere from 12,000 to 40,000 words and have featured elements from the original 1963 to 89 television series as well as original creations developed by the writers. The stories are published as free downloads at Double's PDF documents, features a novel-like layout and specifically created covers. The project is looking for imaginative, original and entertaining stories that see the Doctor and his companion travel and experience the wonders of the universe. For details on how to contribute a story proposal to the Doctor Who project, you can see the submission guidelines in the link on the show notes.
Fab.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Would you do that?
Yeah, well, I actually think we should put forward some proposals from Who to Face.
Yeah.
How good would they be?
They would be good.
Okay, so that probably wraps up our news.
That does wrap up the news for this week.
So does that move us on to our first item?
Yes, it does.
Probably the main item.
It is the main item. I mean, what do you think the main item is? This feature or the review?
I would suggest that the main item is pressing the randomizer. Of course. No, I think it's just like they're all main items. It's just little chunks of greatness. So
the news is an item.
It is an item in its own right. Yeah. Just unfortunately no companion news. Sob.
Hopefully in the next few weeks.
Next week, folks.
Hopefully.
We'll be that news next week.
Don't say that because it won't happen. You see, all week I've been going, is the news out? Is the news out? Is the news out? Looking at the news desperately, and I've been so sad.
There we are.
I was saying this better be out by tomorrow last night.
Yeah, and it hasn't been. Never mind. So the main item, did you want to introduce it?
So the Doctor has faced many villains over the years. In the Monster Analogy series, we look in depth at them. This time we look at the creatures from Mondas, Earth's twin planet, the Cybermen, mechanical creatures which have been trying to destroy the Time Lord for years. We're going to chat a little bit about the Cybermen, why they're so great and why they are not so great. Okay.
So how do we want to kick this off then? Excuse me.
So, should we talk a little bit about our thoughts on the Cybermen?
Yeah. Okay.
Who should go first?
Shall I start?
Okay.
Off on it?
Yeah.
Okay. Cybermen, when I was growing up, the Cybermen were my favourite villains, without doubt. And I think if you look over the years, so many of the most iconic sort of pictures from Who have been Cybermen related. Yeah. Excuse me, I got a bit of a tickly cough. Do you want to just carry on a little bit on that whilst I just cough my guts up?
Okay. So the Cybermen are very iconic villains. The most apart from the Daleks, and I think they are quite good. They are very good, and like Dee Cool said, they have been in some brilliant moments, and they have featured in some brilliant episodes. Teams of Cybermen, Invasion, Earthshock. Yeah. You know.
They've also been in some duffers.
They have, yeah.
Haven't they? I mean, Nightmare and Silver, I struggle with.
Closing Time.
Closing Time's not
despicable.
Brilliant. Yeah. I think in itself, actually, I mean, that's probably something worth focusing in on a little bit. The Cybermen, to me, are a perfect example of a villain that looks less threatening now with modern technology than it used to. I mean, and the very early Cybermen were a lot more chilling.
Let me put forward something that Daleks are a bit different than this because they they've been the same design, apart from their leaders have had some bits added to them, or other people, different variations and colours and bits and stuff added on. But the Daleks have stayed the same design all over the years. Something good about the Cybermen is that the Cybermen have changed over the years and have had so many great designs. And when they came back in Rise of the Cybermen, they weren't as scary as they were. I mean, Dark Water, they were quite scary.
They were, but
not
they're
as scary.
They're still. I mean, it makes sense in many respects, because the whole thing with the Cybermen is that they're constantly upgrading themselves, aren't they? So I guess they would become. They remind me of stormtroopers now. To me, they were at their greatest when in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they looked absolutely fantastic. I mean, these really early ones where they've just got these sort of cloth faces. Yeah. Those are just, they are really creepy, aren't they? Because they are so humanoid.
I mean, the Cybermen are such a creepy idea. And they're such a creepy creation. But yeah, I mean, the sock-faced ones, they are brilliant, and they look creepy, and they sound creepy.
So if you were going to recommend to somebody to watch a Cyberman classic Who to start with, what would you recommend?
I think one I would recommend people to watch is, I mean, I love Invasion, but I'm gonna have to say Tomb of the Cybermen.
Yeah.
Because Tomb of the Cybermen is such a classic, and it's a great one. I mean, it's at the beginning I didn't think it was going to be as good as people said it was, but I found out I was wrong.
What about if you were talking to someone and they said, "Don't like classic Who, it's rubbish. I like new ones. Recommend me a new Who one instead with Cybermen in." What would you respond to with that?
Would this be one that would be non-depressing?
No, it could be anything.
Okay, my favourite New Who one is Dark Water, Death in Heaven.
Yeah, particularly for Dark Water, isn't it?
Dark Water, yeah.
It's like we've said before on this podcast, I'm pretty sure. We talked a little bit about Earthshock and the fact that when Earthshock came out, people didn't know it was going to be a Cyberman episode. And it would have been fantastic if they'd managed to maintain that level of secrecy.
I know, that would have been
with
great.
New Who, with Dark Water. I mean, it's never going to happen because we knew the Cybermen were going to be in it because we'd seen the trailers.
And the samples.
That's right. So they were actively using the Cybermen to promote the new series, weren't they?
I mean, Dark Water wouldn't have got as many views if you didn't know the Cybermen were going to be in it.
Yeah, well, there is that. Yeah,
that is the problem.
Yeah, there is that. I mean, some people would have guessed it anyway, wouldn't they? Because there was a lot of real hints, wasn't there? The fact that you had people have pointed out, haven't they, with some of the Missy shots that the doors looked like the Cyber eyes.
Yeah.
So I guess people would have there would have been speculation.
What about you, classic and new?
The thing is, I can't remember those Patrick Troughton ones. I'm not sure whether I've seen them or not. When I was growing up,
the Cybermen when you?
I'm not sure
because it was shown in the 90s.
Yeah,
or the 80s or something. It's repeated once.
I definitely watched. I can remember watching some black and white Cybermen stories on repeat, but I don't remember which ones they were.
Okay.
So I would probably. It's funny actually because as I've mentioned at the beginning of this item, I grew up loving the Cybermen and everything, but I don't think any of my looking at the randomizer and the little league that we put up, and when we find things on the randomizer, watch them, we've then been starting to store them. I don't think any of my Cybermen episodes that have come up so far have actually been that high.
Where's Darkwood to Death and Heaven in your list?
That would be the highest one. You're right. That is fairly high, actually. Yes, 10th or 11th or something. 12th.
12th.
Yeah, so that's pretty high. But aside from that, even Earthshock was about middle, I think, 28th. So, in fact, the Moonbase is higher than it. So I would have to say the Moonbase.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily think the Moonbase is by any means a classic. So whilst I love the Cybermen, I think probably what I really remember about them are stories I haven't seen and I've forgotten.
Okay. I think when you watch the classics to the Cybermen invasion, that sort of thing, you'll change. You'll get a favourite classic one.
What about the Tom Baker Cybermen episode?
Yeah, that's
what's that called again?
Revenge of the Cybermen. I remember you always say that you always liked that one.
I'm pretty sure that's one I really loved. Yeah, pretty sure. But I don't remember anything about it. So please, we love Peter Davidson. We've enjoyed watching the Peter Davidson episodes on the randomizer.
Yes.
But when we press the randomizer today, can we have a Cybermen episode instead, please, randomizer?
Please.
We know you like your randomness, and that's part of your appeal and design. But
Peter Davidson.
Yeah. But we'd like a Cybermen one, please.
Please.
Invasion, preferably for me.
Preferably.
Yeah. Okay.
Or team.
So top 5 Cybermen stories then.
Okay.
There's no point me answering it because I don't know enough.
Right. I'm gonna say Tim the Cybermen, Invasion.
Yeah.
Darkwood, Death and Heaven. Earthshock. Tenth Planet.
Yeah. So the Tom Baker one doesn't fit in there. Be outside of that, yeah.
No, sorry.
Okay, that's interesting. 10th Planet being the first one they were ever in, yeah. That's another one I'd like to see, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know some of that's animated, isn't it?
Yeah, the last part.
Is it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What else do we? I'll pose you another question on it, on the Cybermen. And it's a similar one that we discussed last time when we were talking about Daleks. Do you think the threat of the Cybermen has gone? I mean, it certainly had in Closing Time, and
it definitely had
and Nightmare and Silver, didn't it?
Not necessarily in the most recent 2 parts we've had. Definitely in the 2 you mentioned, but I think they have got less menacing than they were back in the old days.
Yeah, I think that's right.
In those classics Cybermen stories.
Can you still destroy them with gold, or did they upgrade to remove that design flaw?
They probably did in there. They can't be destroyed by water either now.
Yeah.
Electricity.
Yeah. When do you think we'll next see the Cybermen? Do you think we'll see them in the next series?
Well, it's strange how I didn't see them in Series 9.
Yeah. I think there's not quite the same. You have to have the Cybermen in it as what you get with the Daleks. In fact, which doctors haven't met the Cybermen?
Okay. 3rd. 8th.
Yeah.
9th.
Yeah. That's it, is it? Okay. That's interesting, isn't it?
Well, all of the doctors met the Daleks. So.
Yes. I guess they put, and probably some of those probably have met them in books or audio adventures.
Yeah.
Haven't they? Certainly, I'd imagine the 8th's probably met them, has he?
Definitely, yeah.
On a Big Finish one. Yeah. Yes.
And the War Doctor, if you...
Oh, yes, that's true, yeah. Okay. So, I interrupted you just a minute. You were going to say something. I probably...
Oh, yeah. What's your favourite and least favourite designs of the Cybermen?
Okay, favorite design. This changes a little bit. When I was growing up, it was the Tom Baker era one.
Yeah.
Now I think I'm going to go for the second one.
The Moon Base and two
yeah,
the Cybermen.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to stick with the cloth face ones.
Yeah. The figures you got of those are really cool, aren't they?
I love the cloth faced ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Least favourite. Gonna say, would it be the first New Who ones?
Would be for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely would be for me. They seem a little bit more like a sort of. I sort of compared them to stormtroopers earlier on. Then that's what they seem like to me now. Like they seem like a sort of like a future army.
Yeah.
And I don't think you ever really got that. Although they were effectively an army, you didn't really get that regimented feel about them previously.
No. I can just imagine those Cybermen just marching along. I can't imagine them doing anything else. I could just in my head for some reason just imagine them going.
I'll tell you another thing that I really didn't like, Cybermen related.
Yeah.
Although I quite enjoyed the episode, The Next Doctor. I know it's not necessarily a particularly highly rated one, but I quite enjoyed it. But I really disliked the big Cyberman, the Cyber
King.
Cyber King. Sorry, yeah. Didn't like that at all.
Was quite.
It sort of ruined that episode a little bit. It was just a bit naff, wasn't it? But
everyone hates the Cyber King.
Yeah. No more Cyber Kings, please.
But Merkers.
Yeah. Anything else to add?
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah. Not really, I don't think. No. I think that probably sums up the Cybermen. We've talked about the best episode. We talked about the worst episodes. We talked about the design. We talked about the future and what the future holds.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when do you think they're going to come back? Because we didn't really answer that.
Okay, I think
Stephen Moffat will want to do one more Cyberman story.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think they'll come back in a main story until the next Doctor. I don't think that the Cybermen will return. I don't think Stephen Moffat will write another main Cyberman.
Maybe in this final story there'll be like a cameo appearance.
Yeah, you could get that, I guess. But I don't really want to see them again for a while, to be honest.
I don't really. They're not really needed.
No.
For a while.
No, that's right.
Not unless they come up with a really good story.
Yeah.
Really necessary story, like they have done with the last few Dalek stories.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we have next week on this section?
We're looking at the Master.
Oh, excellent.
Monster analogy. So
okay.
Have a look at all of the Delgados and Gomez's.
Lot to get our teeth into with the Master.
And Ainleys and Pratts.
Yeah.
And Sims and
Are we getting into
Beavers?
Are we getting into Missy as well?
Yes.
So the plastics is the Master / Missy.
Everything the Master.
Okay.
Related.
Okay, good stuff. We'll look forward for that next week.
Yes.
I hope you folks enjoy that. That's not the end of the show, mind you, though.
No, that
isn't. We're going to crack on and talk a little bit about the we'll do our review of the story that the randomizer selected for us last time, which was
Warriors of the Deep.
So, as we joked earlier on, another Peter Davison one.
As always.
So we usually start off. I usually give a little bit of a run through of the basic story. This one sees us set on a secret underwater base, and you've basically got sort of two opposing. I guess it's very similar to what you have historically, that whole sort of America versus Russia sort of type thing. So I don't think it was very clear as to who the two superpowers were in this one, but obviously there's sort of like the conflict going on between the two. You've got like a bunch of crew that are based on the base, and there's two people that are there that are actually traitors that are working for the other block, and they're basically trying to sort of sabotage it. Whilst this is going on as well, there's also the Silurians back for the first time since the Silurians.
Yeah, and the Sea Devils back for the first time since the Sea Devils.
Yeah, and basically the Silurians have sort of not brought the Sea Devils back to life. They've sort of I can't remember the phrase. They've sort of
got them out of hibernation.
That's it. They've unhibernated them, and they were planning to actually get into this base. And what they want to do is they want to start a war between the two blocks, which will eventually annihilate the whole of mankind, thus enabling the Silurians and the Sea Devils to dominate again.
Yeah.
So thus the Doctor finds himself there on the base. I can't remember why they got there now from memory. But were they attacked, or was that a different episode? I'm trying to think now. I might be crossing
Too
over.
many Davidsons.
Yeah, I think so. I seem to remember
they went near there and they
and
the people called them on the distress thing.
I've got it. Basically what happens is they get hit by whilst they're in space, and they basically have to materialize onto the sea base.
Yeah.
Because initially they were going to be taking Turlo back, and he changes his mind about going back. So that's how the Doctor gets there. And basically they just get involved within this whole sort of plot of treachery and stuff, don't they? That's going on in the background. Of course, the last time when the Doctor met the Silurians, he tried to broker a peace deal.
But then the Brigadier destroyed them all.
Exactly.
It's the only Homo Reptilia story you've not seen, isn't it?
Yeah. So sounds good. Is that enough of a story? Oh, what I will just mention, of course.
Yeah.
Perhaps is that the features within it possibly the greatest crap monster of all time. The Merca, which is sort of like a very, very deep water creature, and it is as rubbery as it looks like a sort of a green pantomime horse, doesn't it?
It's just a little less rubbery than the case of Androzani.
Yeah. So, but what it shows you, since this episode came out in 1984, beginning of 1984, it actually shows you quite how much sort of effects have improved since then. But so first up, what did you make of it?
I think the story's a little bit, even though it's quite low in my chart still, I think it is a little bit underrated.
Yeah.
I think I really like the Silurians, and as you know, I really like the Sea Devils, and hope it's on the top of my list of monsters to return.
Yeah.
In Modern Who, but I really enjoyed this story. Actually, it's a highly enjoyable story.
Yeah.
And it's got possibly the best death ever.
Yes, it has, isn't it? There's the I can't remember the woman's name now.
Solar.
Yeah.
Solar.
And she sort of basically comes up against after the treachery when they've sort of sabotaged everything. She, I can't even remember why she's going where she's going, but she basically ends up coming face to face with the Merca, and she sort of does like a karate kick on it, and then rubbishly dies.
Electrocuted.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a great rubbish death. Yeah, so
the best worst death.
The best worst death ever, probably. Yeah. I tend to agree with you. Actually, I think it's one of those stories where it's not groundbreaking, but it is it's very watchable, isn't it?
We've had a few of those on around the place, I think.
The cliffhanger for. Well, the cliffhangers, I should say. All three cliffhangers are actually quite good, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you've got the first one with the Doctor falling into the water. That's great. We like that one. Then you've got the one with the Merca coming in. And then you've got the third cliffhanger with the baddie guy taking Tegan hostage and stuff.
And the Sea Devils.
And the Sea Devils, yeah.
We thought the Nilsson would taking Tegan would be the cliffhanger.
Hmm. Yeah, that's right. It's not quite, is it?
No.
Yeah. It's it's an enjoyable episode, but certainly not a classic.
No, it's not. It's where does it make it in the charts? I mean, for me, it's
So we've how many have we watched?
we've watched 57,
So there's 57 on the randomizer.
and mine's 45th, and Decalled is 43rd.
Yeah. So it's towards the bottom end of it.
Sadly.
Yeah, but it's not bad. It's not. It's certainly
No.
not. It's not Nightmare in Silver, and it's not Fear Her.
No.
Is it? So it's certainly not bad. It's an enjoyable episode to watch. Let's talk a little bit about the Merker.
Oh no.
So
I bring back the Merker.
Well, we started that today, haven't we, on Twitter?
Yeah.
We started the tagline, "Bring back the Merker," because it is the ultimate in rubbish monsters.
It is, and it should return.
Yeah.
Better than the Sea Devils. It's now at the top of my wish
Indeed,
list. Even though Omega's quite high.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It borders on comical, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The Merker. It must have been really hard filming that bit without laughing. But
No, they wouldn't have laughed because they were used to it because it's rubbish effects like they always do.
But the thing, that's what I find really odd about Classic Who, is that although the black and white ones have obviously dated in many respects, and not just the black and white ones, and basically the 60s and the 70s Doctor Who.
The first 2 decades.
Yeah, whilst there was obviously limitations in effects and stuff, you don't really notice it significantly.
No.
But whereas once you get into perhaps the tail end, well, basically the what's his name, John Nathan Turner.
Yeah.
Once you get into that period, the 80s, it just goes completely crappy, doesn't it?
I mean, 60s and 70s in effect wise is strangely a lot better than the 80s.
Yeah, definitely. And to me, this one really symbolises the rubbish monster, but that doesn't take away from what's an enjoyable story.
Should we move on to scores?
Yeah.
Monsters.
Okay, monsters. Well, it's the Cybermen, isn't it? It's the Sea Devils. It's the Merker. It's got to be a high score for them for this. I would say. I'm going to say it's a 9.
Okay.
Monsters. What's on that? What do you make of the designs of the Silurians and the Sea Devils in this?
I think the Silurians look fine.
Yeah.
They still have the third eye.
Yeah.
The Sea Devils, however, their face is good, but their body just isn't right.
You got the arm. They got that arm on them, haven't they? And it doesn't look as cool as the netting, does it?
No.
That we saw in the John Pertwee one.
Yeah. Character development.
Character development, never a particularly strong thing with Who, so 7.
Okay.
Can I interject?
Wait,
again?
no. Wait, I just want to work out the score.
Yeah. Yeah. Something else that occurs to me when watching this is the moment when the cliffhanger in episode 2, where the Doctor and Tegan are sort of trapped with the Merker coming onto them, and Turlo basically is busting his gut to try and rescue them. But then later on in the episode, when the Doctor has been held captive by the Silurians and the Sea Devils, he seems quite happy just to go into the TARDIS and let them die, which just seems really, really odd. He's got like a little bit of a, I don't know, I can't work out his mentality, but I like Turner.
Yeah, he's better than Adric.
No, I like him.
Excitement.
It's a pretty exciting one. It's probably 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pace.
Pace. It's quite a pacey one. Probably a 7.
Okay. And overall.
Overall, it's probably a 7.
Okay, so 37 out of 50.
Yeah. It's right. It's a watchable enjoyable episode.
It's not a groundbreaking.
But it's not a
one, no.
groundbreaker. No, certainly not. And actually, I think it's probably fairly. It's probably one of those episodes that sums up the Peter Davidson era. Actually,
Yeah.
because I think he was quite a good doctor. His stories are quite good, but
It's not as good as like some of the others.
Exactly. Yeah.
Somewhere that most of the Peter Davidson ones will emerge somewhere near the middle.
Yeah.
Where did we put Kinder? 29th for me.
Yeah, it wasn't
31st.
a good Kinder, definitely.
No.
Yeah. So, if that's us summed up with
Kinder, sorry.
Kinder, sorry, yeah, we keep saying that, don't we?
Luckily, we missed that.
So let's move on to the randomizer this week.
Yes.
Time to press the button. So just as a very, very, very brief reminder, the randomizer is a spreadsheet with every episode of Who in it. We press a little magic macro button and it randomly picks an episode which we will hopefully watch next week and talk about on next week's show.
Yes.
So shall we press that magic button?
Yes, okay.
So what have we got? Okay, this is good.
Okay, this
So
is going to be...
back into New Who territory.
Yeah, so New Who for us this week.
Yeah, not
that
the
means I
Cybermen.
can do my Aztec review this.
Yeah. So it's not the New Who, not the Cybermen that we were hoping for, but it is an episode that people are very fond of.
And it's not a Peter Davidson one.
So
hints. Should we give some hints to people so they can guess at home?
Okay, all right.
It's an episode that's very popular.
It's penned by Stephen Moffat.
And it's from the David Tennant era.
Okay, so we must obviously be talking about...
Girl in the Fireplace.
So there we are, that's what the randomizer
People may be disappointed because they think Blink.
But it's good. I can remember Girl in the Fireplace quite well. I'll be looking forward to watching it.
I think you've watched this more recent than me.
Yeah, maybe. I watched it probably about a year ago.
I probably watched it more ago, but I've probably watched it more times.
Yeah, that was the first time I'd ever seen it.
Yeah, so I have watched it more times.
So there's a lot I like about this one. There's a few things I don't like about it, but we'll talk about that next
Another
week.
Series 2 one.
Yes.
Got a lot of Series 2 ones.
Indeed. Yeah, it's certainly for a randomizer, it's got a little bit of a bias, hasn't it?
Peter Davidson's in Series 2.
Yeah, that's right. So, without further ado, we move on to the final section of the show,
which is Who to Face.
We should really make some actual proper theme tunes for all of these sections, shouldn't we?
I know.
Like we've got a theme tune for the show now. We should actually have little theme tunes, short theme tunes for each of these sections.
Would be good.
Who to Face is a similar mechanic as the randomizer insofar as it's a spreadsheet that contains each of the doctors. It contains a whole host of monsters. Unfortunately, not the Merca, I don't think, but many others. And we press the random macro button, and it will pick out a doctor. It will pick out a villain, and then off the top of our heads,
and you're going first this time.
We have to make up a story about him. So
yeah, you're going first this time.
I'm going first. Yeah. So what do we have?
So we have. Oh,
that's an interesting one.
Okay.
So it's picked out the third Doctor, John Pertwee, and the Mara, which we watched only last week in Kinder. Yeah. So, okay. Right. Okay, let me get my head around this one a second. What am I going to do with it? Okay. The episode is going to be called The Mara. Okay, because I think that sounds very much like what they would have called it in the John Pertwee era. And we will have this one as a Joe episode, the Doctor and Joe. Okay, so I'm just trying to sort of get my head around this now. So the Doctor could travel in the Joe era, couldn't he? He wasn't still stuck there, was he?
At the end of the Joe era.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go.
Last series.
We're going to go for that last series.
Okay.
The Doctor and Joe travelling around in time and space in the TARDIS, and they get attacked whilst travelling around. There's damage caused to the TARDIS, and they end up sort of when they sort of wake up from the explosion, they find themselves on this primitive planet, a little bit like the sort of Kinder planet, but it's a different planet. When they come out, wherever they go, they can see these sort of like cavemen-like drawings of the snake figure, and they don't really know what it means. The primitives they're very much like cavemen actually, and they talk in Gabunga type language. So they can't actually make any sense of them. They're such a primitive race that even the TARDIS translation device can't actually translate it, because what they've basically found is a undiscovered planet. Okay. The leader of this tribe is in awe of them, and he had a vision years ago, and he sort of like he's doing this with sign language because they can't understand him. But he manages to the doctor manages to work out that the leader's had this vision of them and sees them as being some great devilry, and he decides that he's going to burn them alive. So they sort of start this fire, and they start sort of wheeling the Doctor and Joe towards this fire, and the Doctor notices that the not the leader but the sort of second in there, his eyes are sort of like fiery as well, and they're lit up, and he notices that on his arm he's got the snake symbol. At this stage, they assume that it's just sort of some sort of thing that they worship. But anyway, just as they're about to get put into these flames, the Doctor suddenly starts doing some sort of like magic tricks, and they're completely amazed by it, and they just assume that he's definitely some sort of sorcerer and things. But it distracts them sufficiently to be able to make a run for it. And they then confront this second in command person, and a little bit of a different concept to what happened with Kinder. This sort of second in command guy holds out his hands, presses against John Pertwee's head, and John Pertwee enters his mind, and there he can see the Mara in its actual sort of physical form, and there's like a sort of a little bit of wordplay between the two of them.
How many parts is the story?
This is it's a 7-parter.
How can they fit that? How can they do a 7-part of that? Does he talk a lot?
It's this bit of talking is 3 episodes. There's other stuff happens as well, obviously, but you don't actually see the Mara properly until episode 6. And basically, eventually, Joe manages to wake the Doctor out of this trance, and
in episode 5.
And the other tribe realise, the younger bungers, they realise that actually all the time they've been under the sort of curse and spell of this second in command and the Mara, and that the Doctor actually is a good guy, and they sort of team up on him. And during the fight that ensues, this guy actually falls into the fire, and as he falls into the fire, you see the spirit of the snake rise out into the sky, and that's the end of the adventure.
Cool.
So there we have it. Phew, I got through it. That was scary, making up that on the spot. Right, so over to you. What's yours called?
My one's going to be called The Dream Monster.
Mm.
So Benton the Brigadier and and the Doctor are at this sort of political press conference. And there's sort of a mysterious figure who's voting for to be the prime minister.
Yeah.
And he's called Harold McKeens.
Oh, cool.
So the Doctor knows there's something wrong after the speech, but he can hear in his voice sort of like a voice like this, and he gets suspicious. Later on, Joe has spotted in the papers that all of the other 3 candidates who are running to be the prime minister have all disappeared. They've been presumed dead. But when they tried, the Doctor and the Brigadier come face to face with Harold, and they discover this strange mark on his hand, and it's the snake mark, it's the Mara.
Dun, dun, dun.
And the Doctor finds out that he's going to try and kill half of the race, the half of the human race, but also keep the other half of the human race to take over and become part of the Mara's new army. So the Doctor, so later on, the Doctor gets back from unit and discovers that Jo has been taken over and has the Mara mark on her arm. And later on, most of unit, apart from the Brigadier and Mike Yates, have to try and are taken over. So the Doctor, Mike, and the Brigadier have to try and stop Harold's and the Mara's plans to rule the Earth and destroy and conquer the galaxy.
Cool. Sounds good. Excellent. I like it. So that's your story. What was it called again? Can you remember?
The Dream Monster.
Oh yeah, the Dream Monster. That's right. Yeah.
So yours was good as well.
Yeah, they were quite
great stories.
Quite interesting, weren't they? I think I've decided that in mind. Once the guy takes over the Doctor, I think actually the Doctor will be bad for like a whole episode. Imagine a bad John Pertwee. That would have been quite interesting, wouldn't it?
I know.
Yeah. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed our Who to Face stories. Who to Face will be back not next week, but the week after. We do it every couple of weeks.
And quiz or question the other week.
We do indeed. So that probably wraps up the show, doesn't it?
Next week it's episode 153.
Wowza.
And we are, as our main feature, looking at all things the Master, the Doctor's arch enemy.
Okay, we'll probably do a brief, I would imagine, a bit of feedback from Greedy Goblin.
Yes.
Com.
We'll be reviewing 10th Doctor Classic, Girl in the Fireplace.
Yeah. We'll be doing a quiz or question.
We'll be looking at some more news and views. And
you'll be glad to know we'll be pressing the magic randomizer.
Oh, Valea! Oh, Valea!
We've, I mean, in terms of other stuff that's going live, Your Figure Adventures continue.
Yeah, the penultimate episode of Series 5 and the first part of the series finale. Make sure you tune in, because the moment you've been waiting for, where the truth about Dara is revealed, happens in this episode.
Oh, later in the week, hopefully, as you sort of hinted at earlier on, we might do one of your reviews of some of the William Hartnell stories, perhaps, and get that out at some point.
Yeah, the Aztecs.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed listening, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. I'm Liz Boone.
I'm D. Cool.
Signing out. Goodbye.